Alaikum. Today's experiment is the tests for functional groups, a chemical test for functional groups. So first, let's define what's the chemical test we mean by it. The chemical test is a fast chemical reaction which is accompanied by a change in physical properties such as changing in the color, changing in producing gas, producing precipitate, producing heat, etc. etc. Now, imagine that we have a non-compound. And of course, as you know, every organic compound contains certain functional group which simply determine its chemical behavior or chemical properties. Now, we want to check what functional group present in this compound. There could be many possibilities because we have studied many functional groups, and for each functional group there is specific chemical test. So, for example, for alcohol, we need there is a reagent called sodium ammonium nitrate. We need to test for the presence of alcohol by using this reagent. For aldehydes or ketones, we use 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine. For phenol, we use ferric chloride. For example, for carboxylic acid, we use sodium carbonate. And of course, there are many other chemical tests for many other functional groups. So, of course, we are not going to do it all. We are just going to take these as an example of the whole experiment. So let's start our experiment. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to test our compound, or we are going to do the chemical test twice. We are going to do the chemical test for non-compound and as well as for unknown compound. If the result of the chemical test matches, which means they give the same change, let's say it change physical properties, that means they contain the same functional group. So let's start now. The first question, does my unknown compound contain alcohol functionality? To answer this, let's take 1 milliliter of an alcohol, any alcohol, and then add few drops of the reagent for the chemical test of alcohol, which is sodium ammonium nitrate. Then we add few drops, as you can see, and see what change in physical properties we got. You can see we have a very distinct red color in this case. Now we should repeat the same chemical test for my unknown compound. In this case, I do the same. I take 1 milliliter of my unknown, I add it to another test tube, and then I'm adding the same reagent for test of alcohol functionality. Oops, I add in here. As you can see, there is a huge difference. The result of this chemical test does not match. What my conclusion is supposed to be, that my unknown compound does not contain the same functionality of this known compound, which is alcohol. Then that means my compound contains definitely another functional group. So I should simply continue and repeat everything until I find a match of my unknown with certain known compound. So if we go for ketone, just to check if our compound or our unknown compound contain ketone or not, first we start with the ketone, then we add the reagent, which is 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine, and then see what's going to happen. You see, if a compound or the ketone give a positive test, which is simply a formation of a thick precipitate, thick yellow precipitate, very distinct thick yellow precipitate. Now, to check if our unknown compound contain the same functionality or not, we add the same. We add just 1 milliliter. Maybe this way, I don't know how to do it with this camera. Then we add the same reagent, and then you can see just does not give the same change in the physical property, does not give a precipitate like the ketone, which means our unknown compound does not contain ketone functionality. So we go for the next test, which is the phenol chemical test. So first, again, we start with the known one, which is phenol, and then we add its reagent, as you can see, few drops of the reagent, which is ferric chloride, and then we have a very distinct violet color in this case. Now we check for our non-compound. Just going to make it this way. We add 1 milliliter of our non-compound. Then we add the same few drops of the ferric chloride, and we see the result here does not match, which means my unknown compound does not contain a phenol functionality. So then we keep continuing until we find a match, as we said before. So the last chemical test we're gonna do is simply the carboxylic acid. So we take non-carboxylic acid, we add it to one of the test tubes, then we add the reagent, which is in here, sodium bicarbonate. We add approximately 1 milliliter actually of sodium bicarbonate for this experiment, and check carefully what's going to happen. You see, it's evolution of a gas as indication of the presence of carboxylic acid. I'm just going to repeat it again, please. Check carefully what's going to happen. See, evolution of a gas is a positive sign for the presence of carboxylic acid functionality. Now we do the same test for my unknown compound and check here what's gonna happen. Oh, we have a match now. So that means our unknown compound here have the same functionality like the last known compound, which is carboxylic acid, and thus the goals of the experiment has been achieved. Thank you very much for watching, and we're looking forward to see you very soon. Thank you.